decided to change the suspension spring on your washer. Let me show you how easy that job is to do. You'll need a few tools, 1/4-inch nut driver, a putty knife, flat blade screwdriver, and perhaps a pair of needle nose pliers. Let me show you how easy it is. Okay, before we get started, we need to do a couple things. First of all, disconnect the appliance from the power supply. It's also a good idea to disconnect the fill hoses and the drain hose, because the best way to do this job is with the appliance either tilted back or laying directly on its back on the floor. You'll want to have a container handy because you're going to have some water left in that drain hose that we need to get rid of. Now that we've prepared the appliance for servicing, first thing we need to do is tilt the console back so that we can disconnect the cabinet support clips. On the outer edges of our console, there's some spring clips at the front that we would slide a putty knife in underneath the console, engage that spring, and tilt the console up. Take caution on this side where you place your putty knife. You want to keep it right out at the edge because there is a lid switch there that we don't want to damage. Console will support itself. Now we can disconnect the lid switch. And the support clips that hold the cabinet to the back, take a flat blade screwdriver, slide it down into the channel of the clip, tilt back with the screwdriver and out. The clip will come out. Now we're ready to remove the cabinet from the machine and get on with our service. Lift the lid. Standing in front of the machine, we're going to lift up. Now we've got the washer where we need to have it to get access to our water pump. Should use 2 people for this job. We're going to want to lay the machine on its back so that we can access the pump properly. Before we lay the washer on its back, we'll tilt the console back into position, support the back panel, tilt the washer backwards. Gently lower it to the floor. Before we begin this repair, I mentioned earlier about some sharp edges around here. The splash plate above the pump does have a few sharp edges on it. When you're going to be working in this area, perhaps the best thing to do is to put a little bit of duct tape across that. Just so we don't cut ourselves while we're working in this area. I'll point out the location of the suspension springs. One located in the right front, one on the left, and one in behind. Access to the rear one requires removing the back panel from the washer. The other 2 can be accessed with just the cabinet removed. To remove the suspension spring, you need to take a 1/4-inch hex screw out of the retaining bracket, keeping in mind that there is spring tension on that, so we want to hold the end of it as the screw comes out so we don't lose all the pieces. Gently release the tension on the spring. Unhook the spring from the hook that's mounted into the frame, and as well from the suspension bracket. Both ends of the spring are the same. reconnect the spring to the mounting bracket in that manner. Keeping in mind we have a locating tab that we need to position in this spot. We'll connect our spring to the spring hook on the frame. Pull it out far enough so that the locating tab fits in, and reinstall a 1/4 inch hex head screw. And we want to make sure that we did maintain enough lubricating grease on both ends of the spring just to prevent any squeaking while your washer is operating. And you can remove your protective tape at this point. The washer is ready to stand back on its legs. When reinstalling the cabinet, we need to make sure that we engage the 2 tabs on either side of the base frame with the elongated holes in the bottom of the cabinet. One located in the front and rear on both sides. Here's the location of the holes in the frame of the cabinet that line up with the tabs on the base frame. Okay, holding the lid in one hand, with your other hand grab the inside of the cabinet in the tub opening, tilt it back towards you, and line it up with the frame. We can lower it back and line up the tabs on the frame. Okay, now we're ready to secure the back to the cabinet with the retaining clips. We'll take the elongated portion, slide it into the opening on the back of the cabinet, pull it forward into the opening in the cabinet, and press it down into place. Now that it's firmly in place, we can reconnect our lid switch harness. Make sure it locks in place. Now it's a matter of reinstalling our console. Locate the rear tabs in the cabinet, line up the springs, and snap it into place. And that's just how easy it was to put suspension springs on your washer. Good luck with your repair.